in the phone bill, I can create an equation to make future predictions about what my bill can be. So equations are very useful, and they help you save money, or they help you figure out things that you can make predictions about them. So let's move on to the next part of our agenda. That was the intro. Now we're on the exploration activity. Before I begin today's lesson, I want you to explore on your own. I'm going to give you a sheet that's labeled solving 1-step equations, and then on the back it's saying solving 2-step equations. What this sheet does is help you walk through the steps and fill in the blanks, and you kind of discover it on your own. Once you're done, we're going to complete this chart that's labeled the get rich strategy. And when you're doing this sheet, keep in mind, what are we doing first? Then what are we getting rid of second? And what do I do when I see addition, subtraction, and multiplication? What do I use in examples? So we're going to complete this chart once you're done. So you're going to have exactly 5 minutes to do the front and 3 minutes to do the back. You are to work with a partner. So there's only one person, unless you can work in groups of 3s. So if you want to come over here to kind of make it look like a group for me, Tejon, just to kind of work through the problems together. Start off on the 1-step equation side and kind of work through the problems, and then I'll walk around me and Mr. Jefferson just to see if you guys need some support. So right now you're working them out together. I would like for you to discuss them with a partner or as a group. So if you want to have a leader of the group, Tejon, you can kind of lead the conversation and you guys can fill it in. Oh, okay. So why don't you guys start reading first? So what's the first equation?
X plus 4 equals 3.
Okay, so what is it saying? Read it for me.
Get the variable.
Get the variable. Go ahead, Tejon.
Get the variable x by itself. So you get x by itself, you must get rid of the blank.
What are we getting rid of first if we want to get x by itself? What's the closest thing to the x?
4.
So write 4. The closest number to it, not the actual coefficient, but the constant. If you think about the 4, that's the one we're getting rid of first. We always get rid of that number. So then keep reading.
The 4 is being added to the x. To get rid of the 4, you must do the inverse of what is the already being done. The inverse of addition is blank.
So, okay. And so then you want to then solve the problem. And so you want to go through the rest of them. The timer, you have about 3 more minutes left on this side.
Let me read it again. You want to read it?
Go ahead. Example 2, go ahead, Devon.
Yeah. Get the variable x by itself. To get x by itself, you must get rid of
The 6.
The negative 6 over 6.
Negative 6.
You know how I taught you. I taught you to think of it as a negative, but we're just going to say 6 in this case.
let's say the 6 is then
It's being subtracted.
to get rid of the 6, you must do the inverse opposite of what is already been done. The inverse operation is
Addition.
addition.
So now we're going to add. So make sure you know that you're subtracting this 4. So put minus 4 and then minus 4. Yeah. So here's 3 minus 4. Put the answer there and then do the same thing. You have about 2 more minutes left. So Deja, maybe leave this one, this next one.
4x equals 12. Get 4x equals 12. Get the variable x by itself. To get x by itself, you must get rid of the 4. The 4 is being blanked by the x. Multiplied. Multiplied by x. To get rid of the 4, you must do the inverse opposite of what's already being done. Inverse operation is division. How to do negative w over 7 equals 3. Get the variable w by itself. To get w by itself, you must get rid of the second. -7, the operation between W and -7 is division.
Very good.
To get rid of the -7, do the inverse opposite of what is already being done. The inverse operation is a multiplication.
Okay, so the timer has about 30 seconds on there. Go ahead and finish up your last problem that you're working on. And then we're going to turn the paper over and take about 2 minutes to complete the two-step equation problem. You only have to do the first one in sake of time so that we can begin to complete our chart. So finish up that last problem. Share your answers with each other, because that'll determine, like, you see how you have, that's a negative and a positive, so you want to make sure that you reflect that in your answers.
Exactly. Move on to the back.
Okay, so everybody should turn their paper over on the other side. Very good. This side for working diligently. I need everybody in this side for doing very well as well. I need everybody to turn over to the solving two-step equations. You're only going to do the first one. And so pick somebody in your group that will walk you guys through it. So now you were doing one step before. See what's going on differently in this one. And then we're going to start developing our rules. So you have 2 minutes.
I'll read it. 2x plus 4 equals 8. Get the variable x by itself. Step 1. Get the term that is the variable alone. So get 2x by itself. To get 2x by itself, we must get rid of the 4. So we do.
Are you seeing why it's 4? Yeah.
The 4 is being added to 2x. To get rid of the 4, you must do the inverse opposite of what is already being done. The inverse of addition is subtraction.
Okay, keep going.
So negative, a minus 4. So get the variable x by itself. The operation between 2 and x is multiplication.
Okay, you have 1 more minute.
To get rid of the 2, we must do the inverse operation. The inverse operation is division.
All right, 30 seconds. You see how you got 2?
Yeah, because you're the back.
Very good. You guys can go on to the next one. That's what I call time.
Negative w over 2 plus 6 equals 7. Get the variable w by itself. Step 1. Get the term that has the variable alone. So get w minus 2. The negative w over 2 by itself. So you have negative w over 2 by itself. You must get rid of the 6. The operation between negative w over 2 and 6 is addition.
All right, let's go ahead and close it out. You guys need to take out your warm-up paper and turn it over because you'll be completing this chart. That is the second part of this exploration activity. We're going to complete this chart together as a class using this kind of sort of like word bank here. So I need you guys to help support me, but along with that, I need you guys to write this down so you can refer to this. Because what you just did was you explored and you were able to kind of develop what is being done when you're solving two-step equations. So, yeah, I want you don't have to write the word bank, but we're going to write the get-rid strategy on our paper. And because this is the objective today, we were learning this strategy to help us solve one and two-step equations. So I want to make sure you know what the strategy is. So now we're getting introduced to exactly what the strategy is. So after you write the get-rid strategy, step one. What is the get-rich strategy? Could you write that down, please? What is the get-rich strategy? So, the get-rich strategy starts off with step one. Get rid of the what? Out of these words, what are we getting rid of first when we do these problems? When we solve two-step equations. You just did the last two-step equation problem. What are you getting rid of first?
The constant.
The constant? Very good. You're getting rid of the constant first. So everybody needs to write that. You're getting rid of the constant first. And the constant is that number that kind of does what?
It's by itself.
It stands alone. Very good. All right. Step two. What are you getting rid of next? If I'm getting rid of the constant first, what am I getting rid of next? The coefficient. Very good. And what does the coefficient represent? What does that look like? What does the coefficient look like? Can somebody describe it?
It's the number by the variable.
So it's either above the variable or right beside it, and we're going to see that. So now that we know the two steps, first we get rid of the constant, then we get rid of the coefficient. We're going to talk about inverse operations. When I see addition, what did you do when you saw addition?
You supposed to subtract.
Right, very good. So what do I look like? What am I looking at when I see what problem, what example can I place up here? Because what am I looking at to see to make sure I use here? Plus 7. I'm looking at plus 7, and that's letting me know I need to use subtraction. Okay, how about the next one? When I see subtraction, what am I using?
Addition.
Addition, very good. And what does that look like? What does that look like? Minus 7 equals. So when I see something that says minus something equals, it doesn't have to necessarily, of course, be a 7, but those are just samples. Okay, when I see multiplication, when I see something that looks like, thank you, I divide. And so what does that look like when I see multiplication?
7x.
7x, very good. What do I see when I see division? What am I using?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. And so what does that look like? Of course, x over 7. So I didn't ever explain that this is also a way to show a coefficient, because this is coefficient and this, so 7 will be a coefficient to this, and this is also a coefficient. So when you think about getting rid of the coefficients, you're going to say 7x, or number in x, or x over blank. Okay, so I want you to be able to see all the representations. So now that we're finished completing our chart, we're going to use this chart to help us dig further by using a set of Cornell notes. Put your name in the topic of today's lesson, which is two-step equations at the top. Okay. When you complete the chart, we're going to get started. And when we are walking through these examples and questions and problems, I want you to refer to the steps, because that's what they're there for. We are now in the mini lesson part of our agenda, and we're going to walk through these Cornell notes. We're going to walk through some one-step equations. We already have a clue of how to solve those, but we still want to practice those to make sure we know what's going on there. And then we're going to practice some two-step equations using our get-rich strategy. Okay, about 30 more seconds to finish up the notes. I want to walk around and see if everybody has their notes beside them. Everybody should have their steps and notes beside them so we can refer to them. All right. What number in number 1 are we getting rid of first? 12. And what do we see when we see 12? Addition. So what are we doing to get rid of it?
Subtraction.
Excellent work. So we're saying m plus 12 equals 10. So we're going to subtract 12 on both sides. And what am I getting there? 10 minus 12 is what?
-2.
Negative 2. Very good. All right, let's move to number 2. See if you can figure out what you see there and what number we're getting rid of first. So we see subtraction. So what do we do to get rid of subtraction?
Addition.
So what are we adding? What is the constant?
Plus 9.
Plus 9.
We're adding 9. Just because it's on this side, make sure you're adding the number that is the constant. So we're adding 9 on both sides. So we are canceling that out, and we have a G left. So what is negative 2 plus 9? Think about it. I'm at negative 2, and I go over 9 positive. 7. Very good. So G is equal to? 7. Very good. Let's look at number 3. What do I see? Multiplication. Does the negative 7 represent a constant or a coefficient?
Coefficient.
Coefficient because of what?
It's attached to the variable.
It's attached to the variable. Very good. So what am I seeing? I see multiplication, so what am I doing to get rid of it? What am I doing to get rid of it? Dividing it. So negative 7 goes into negative 91. Let's write this down so you can just see how it looks. So we're dividing the negative 7 on both sides. So how many times does negative 7 go into negative 91? You said negative 13 because it's two negatives.
Positive.
Positive 13? Okay.
Maybe solve for y also.
You're saying so you want to say y equals positive 13. Okay? Always say y equals or always say what it equals. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. So, moving on down to the two-step equation. Skip over 5 through 8 because those will be homework problems. Let's go to number 9. So, we're going to use our get rid strategy. So, the first step tells us to get rid of the what? Constant when you have a two-step equation. We didn't have to use the get rid strategy for one step because it's either you're getting rid of the constant or the coefficient. So now we have some steps because we have two things going on. So what is the first thing that we do here?
We
Do the inverse of addition.
and we subtract 8 from both sides.
So we're getting rid of, the first number we're getting rid of is the 8. And the 8 is considered to be the what? Constant or coefficient?
Constant.
So we're getting rid of the constant first. So subtract 8 on both sides. So what does that make that? 50 minus 8 is?
42.
Okay, and then we canceled that out, so we just left with the 6x. So now we're getting rid of the coefficient. What is the coefficient in this particular problem?
42.
The coefficient. The 6, because it's next to the what? Variable. Very good. And we said that it looks like this, so when we see multiplication, what are we doing with this 6? Divide. So we're going to divide 6 on both sides. So what is x equals what? 7. Very good. All right, try number 10 on your own and tell me what number, what are we getting rid of first. So make sure you follow the two steps. Get rid of your constant and then get rid of your coefficient. Okay, so which number represents our constant? 5. So how do we get rid of it? We see minus 5, so what are we doing to get rid of it?
Plus 5.
Adding 5. So that's what?
16.
And then I bring down my 2x. So what is my coefficient?
2.
2. So how do I get rid of the 2?
Divide.
Divide, because I see multiplication, so I want to divide. So x equals what?
8.
Very good. All right, let's look at number 13, a different type of problem. Try to solve 13 using the get rid strategy, please. Solve number 13 using the get rid strategy. Number 13, tell me what you're doing first. So, you always want to get rid of the constant first, so you don't want to bring
I was
over.
talking with 11.
Okay, so now you're doing what on both sides? Add 7. So 9 plus 7 is? 9 plus 7 is? 16. So then I got x over 2. What am I seeing now? What is the coefficient?
coefficient is 2.
Okay, so what am I doing? I see division, so what am I
You
doing?
just multiply.
Okay, so what am I multiplying?
2 times 2 times,
2 times what? 16. What is 2 times 16? X equals what?
32.
Okay, so put the rest of this up. This is your homework. You're going to complete these problems for homework. Right now, write your name on the index cards that I'm passing out, and you're going to do a problem. When you're finished the problem, I need you to pass it in to me because you're going to be grouped based upon your actual response, your answer, and whether or not it's accurate, and that's how you will place in your groups today. So, let's go with